Hi folks, welcome to another edition of Jstfish Outdoors Web TV. This week we've got some good reports from around the northeast Oklahoma area, and I'm also going to give you a good tip on how to adjust your 2D sonar menu on your Lowrance HDS Gen 3 units to give you a little extra clarity when you're looking at fish close to the bottom. So stick around, we got some good info coming up, and hopefully we'll get rid of this cold weather, that little snap we're having right now, and we'll be able to get out on the water and enjoy some of this good weather coming up. So stick around, we'll be right back. Hi folks, welcome back to Jstfish Outdoors Web TV. Our first report's going to come from Steve Carroll, who's a local striper hybrid guide and also does catfish and some other things. And he's going to tell us what he's been hearing and what he's been up to.
Yeah, good morning. It's Steve Carroll with Weekend Duty Guide Service. It's Tuesday morning, February 21st, and wanted to get with you guys this morning and do our weekly Tuesday morning fishing report. Looks like it's going to be a fantastic week. It's going to be in the 70s and the 80s for the rest of the week. Of course, up until the weekend, it's going to cool off again and another cold front blow through. But I'd like to start off this morning with what's going on up on Keystone. Getting good reports on Keystone for striped bass. Getting striped bass up there on the Arkansas River arm, on the windy banks and the backs of coves up there. Getting stripers mainly on live shad. Also catching good numbers of blue cat up on Keystone on the Cimarron and the Arkansas River arm. So Keystone would probably be a good bet for you this weekend. The Arkansas River, on the other hand, up above Keystone's another story right now. We're just not seeing the water flows that we like to see up there to really pull those giant spoonbill out of the lake and get them up the river. So we haven't had a chance to get the riverboat up the Arkansas this year. That's going to happen. It just hadn't quite started yet, but those big spoonbill will be coming out of the Keystone Lake probably sometime in March. A little bit different situation down on Fort Gibson. Fort Gibson is still pretty high. There's water, they're running water out of Fort Gibson, so there's a good amount of current up there. The spoonbill fishing up on the upper end of Fort Gibson's real good right now. Getting good numbers of spoonbill up there every day, along with good numbers of blue cat up in the upper end of Fort Gibson. On Skytook Lake, the water's starting to warm up. The fish are kind of starting their early springtime pattern where they come up into that shallow, warmer water, and they're chasing shad up in shallow water on Skytook and getting good numbers of hybrids up there on warm afternoons when there's a breeze, and fishing the windy points up there on Skytook for hybrids using Jean LaRue swim baits. On Oologah, I got a good report up there this last weekend at the tackle show. Guys are catching real good numbers of blue cat on Oologah, on live shad and cut shad up in the upper end of the lake. So it looks like it's going to be a fantastic week and a nice weekend. You guys get out there, get your boats de-winterized, and get stuff cleaned up, and springtime's just right around the corner. We'll talk to you next week.
Welcome back. That's a good report from Steve Carroll. The next guide we got coming up is Mark McGuire of Mark's Crappie Guide Service. Mark's an excellent crappie guide and has a lot of experience, and of course runs the Ranger boats, which is a plus in anybody's book. But stick around, Mark's got a good report coming up.
Hi everybody, Mark McGuire from Mark's Crappie Guide Service. I'm giving you a fishing report from Lake Eufaula. That's where I'm at this morning, waiting on clients. The bite fished down here yesterday. The bite had a lot of boats. I will say they had a lot of boats, a lot of motor traffic, a lot of noise in the water. These fish have changed a little bit. They had moved out into the right off the edge of the channel breaks, the break lines. They were in that 12, 14 foot of water. They're still suspended. They're staging right now, getting ready for these water temperatures are rising. They're up to low 50s. These fish are staging out on the points, out in the mouth of these creeks, getting ready to spawn, getting ready to make that run. We're still 30 days away. The fish I cleaned yesterday, the eggs aren't anywhere near ready. But anyway, like I say, these fish are, you find the bait fish, find the shad, and these fish are under them. The shad yesterday was 6 to 8 foot. They were 6 to 8 foot in the water column, deep in the water column, and the fish were just right below them. I didn't fish any deeper yesterday than 8, 9 foot. Get any deeper than that, you could get bit. Worcester is pretty much the same. Depends on the day, depends on the wind. If the wind's not blowing, you get out on the creek channels, out on the main lake, and do pretty good. They're still catching up in the Little Sandboy, or the Polo River, and they're still catching them on wood up in the river. Now, as far as cur, I heard some great reports. Team Buckskin's been up there last weekend, and they absolutely wore them out. They're fishing in the Little Sandboys creek arm. They were spider rigging, they were pulling jigs, just absolutely tearing them up. Those fish up there, again, were suspended under the shad balls. Just a great bite. Fort Gibson, I haven't really heard anything on Fort Gibson. The water temperature is about 53 degrees. The current has subsided. The lake level is getting back to normal, so that lake ought to be firing up. If it hasn't already, it ought to be firing up really quick. But anyway, from Eufaula, it's Mark McGuire from Marsh Crappie Guide Service. Tight lines, guys. Good luck.
The next guy we got coming up is Dave Clark from Fish On Guide Service. He's also an excellent guide, and gives us this weekly report of what he's seen and what's going on. So stick around. Dave's a really good guide, and he usually brings us some good information and updates. So here's Dave's report.
This is David Clark, Fish On Guide Service here in Northeast Oklahoma. This past week's fishing report was pretty good. Some stripers were being caught out on Keystone Lake in about 30 foot of water on live shad. We had a trip one day last week where we caught some on cut shad, blues. Skytook Lake is starting to pick up a little bit. I had 2 reports from Skytook. Skytook, one guy caught some on in about 40 foot of water on slabs there on Skytook, and another guy caught some up in 2 foot of water on Skytook, hybrid stripers. Not catfish, but hybrid stripers, so it seemed like they're starting to go on Skytook. Sooner Lake, still no reports coming from Sooner Lake. Carl Blackwell is producing some real nice hybrid stripers. Oologah and Spavinall are producing some real nice crappie on tube jigs and minnows. And I've been going to Eufaula blue cat fishing down there, catching them on cut bait in about 30 foot of water, and then I've taken some trips over to upper into Fort Gibson on spoonbill catfish trips. Our spoonbill trips are going real good. If you want to combine one, we can do a spoonbill and catfish at the same time, or spoonbill and sand bass when they get you running. Spoonbill's going pretty good though on the upper end of Fort Gibson. Our biggest has been about 50 pounds so far this spring, early spring. They're not running a lot of water over there. Water temperature is still 49 degrees. 49 on Eufaula, 49 on Keystone, 49 on Skytook. So they're going pretty, everything's warming up pretty good as long as we don't have any more cold fronts. Anyway, if you need to get a hold of me, you can contact me at 918-724-6786, or look at my website for up-to-date fishing reports. I keep them up to date all the time on my website at fishonok.com.
Okay, folks, here we are at my HGS 12 Gen 3, and one of the tips I wanted to show you here, a lot of times when you're looking for fish and they're hugging the bottom very, very close in regular 2D sonar, it gets a little confusing what you're seeing on the bottom with a little bit of clarity. So let me show you a little tip here that'll really, really help you out in 2D sonar. We're on our home page here. Let's touch the 2D sonar, And what we're going to do is go over and hit the View tab, and then we're going to turn on the depth line. Now see what happened there? See that white line that shows up right on the bottom of the lake there? The bottom depth? That'll really help you out when you're looking for fish and they're really hugging the bottom. Turn that depth line on, and that really helps distinguish between what you're seeing at the very bottom of the water column and those fish that may be hugging the water column. Once again, let's just go to your 2D sonar, go to your view, and then turn on your depth line. And that will draw that white line we're seeing right there on the bottom of the page here. So that'll help you out. So be sure and try to use that option. I think you'll find it's very helpful, especially on the 2D sonar page. Dale York, Jstfish Outdoors, saying, we'll catch you later. Folks, I also want to pass along a tip especially to all you crappie fishermen. You know, crappie fishing season is just right around the corner, and we're going to be, you know, dropping a lot of jigs around a lot of brush piles in the very near future. And one of the things that'll really help you out is to take a look at Timmy Tom's Jig Company. They produce a jig that's just got a fantastic fiber guard on it. I'll show you a picture of some of their models here. And you know, I've fished these jigs now for probably a little over a year, and these are probably, in my humble opinion, probably the best jigs, weedless jigs on the market. Man, you can crawl these things through brush like there's nobody's business and not get hung up and become a very frustrated fisherman. And so, you know, scoot on over to Timmy Tom's Jig Company. You know, you can find them on the web. They're made in Huntington, Arkansas, and just a great company, and some great folks over there running that company and building those jigs. So go check them out. Timmy Tom's Jig Company in Huntington, Arkansas. Like I said, they make, in my opinion, probably the best weedless, snagless jig head on the market today. So go check them out, and I know you're going to be able to catch more fish and less hang-ups. So go check them out. Once again, Timmy Tom's Jig Company in Huntington, Arkansas. Folks, that'll wrap it up for this week's edition of Jstfish Outdoors Web TV. You know, with these cold fronts coming in on a weekend like we're having right now, fishing is a little off and on, but it's not going to be long before things really start popping around here. I'm getting some good reports from Keystone. They're catching crappie, they're catching stripers, and even catching some good numbers of sand bass, which, you know, once again, that sand bass runs right around the corner. They're starting to catch a lot of spoonbill over in the Fort Gibson area. It's starting to really cut loose as well up in Grand River. So you know, if you're wanting to go snag one of those, there's some good guys out there that'll help you accomplish that. And once again, you know, like I said, good fishing just right around the corner. So I hope you get out and be able to take advantage of some of this warm weather. Hopefully it'll be coming up in next week. And until next week, this is Dale York, host of Jstfish Outdoors Web TV, saying, we'll catch you later.